Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, things are not all bad, obviously. Sometimes there are good things happening, sometimes there are bad things happening. Even in international context, where you have, certain kind of whistles telling us, no, it's a rule-based world and the world order is organized and disciplined and we do what's right and justice should prevail. We know that's just a blah blah blah, because the countries with real power do whatever they want, and then they point fingers at everyone else who does a fraction of whatever they did. The good and the best example are, for instance, United States of America, and you would not believe Israel as well. As small as it is, somehow it just evades some kind of UN resolutions and all that. And for reasons that some of us at least, are aware of. And some people just choose to ignore or simply are dumb enough not to see it. Anyway, it's not about Israel here. It's about Greece and Iran. I don't know if you remember that, but let me read you the title and then we're going to talk about the history of this. This article comes from the Jerusalem Post. See? I'm using them. Using and abusing. So we have here Jerusalem Post from November 16th, 2022. Greece, Iran agree on release of 2 Greek tankers seized by Tehran. Greece and Iran have reached a deal for the release of the 2 Greek-flagged tankers seized by Tehran in the Gulf in May 2022. 2 sources familiar with the matter told Reuters on Wednesday. Well, ship tracking data showed the vessels Delta Poseidon and MT Prudent Warrior were on the way from Iran. Iran detained them in May in response to the confiscation of oil by the United States from an Iranian-flagged tanker in Greece. Now, let me tell you how that happened. So the fact that Iran is under certain sanctions by the European Union and by the Americans. Their oil, their tankers, that whatever. European Union has some little sanctions, and the Americans. Now it was a little tanker, Iranian, right? It was a Poseidon or whatever. No, it was a tanker that was operated, I think, by Iran. It had Iranian oil in it, and it had some Russian sailors. Now, Russia was under the sanctions of European Union to a certain extent, and Iranian oil was under the sanctions of Americans. So there were 2 entities. European Union sanctions on Russia. There were 3.5 Russian sailors on the Iranian tanker, whatever the tanker was, carrying Iranian oil, which fell under the other guys' sanctions, the United States. Now this tanker was in the Mediterranean Sea, and something happened. And then they had to pull over, let's put it this way, and that happened to be in the territorial waters, I think, of Greece. Greece immediately picked up the phone and called the masters and said, hey, European Union, we have 2.5 or 3.5 sailors, Russians, and 3 dogs and 5 cockroaches, and I think they came from Russia, so we have to seize it for now. And they picked another phone and they called their big masters, the United States, and say, hey guys, we have here a tanker with Iranian oil. I know you guys have sanctions against Iran, you want to check it out. So the Americans immediately started rowing from Zimbabwe across the Atlantic to the Greeks' little sea over there. They came and the Americans brought another tanker and they sucked the oil, the Iranian oil, from the Iranian tanker into the American tanker. And then this tanker, American tanker, flying back over the Mediterranean Sea, Gibraltar, go to Atlantic Ocean towards the United States. Now, the Iranians said, what the is that, Greece? What are you doing? Greece, we had to do it. We had to do it because, European Union and the Americans. Yeah, but why did you call the Americans? Because we're weasels. Okay, all right, no problem. We're going to fuck you up too. And the Iranians seized 2 tankers, Greek tankers that we spoke about here, in the Gulf. They said, hey, pull over. 1, 2. Driver's license and registration, please. They said, and they seized them and said, it's okay, Iran said towards Greece. It's okay. Because of you, Americans took our oil. Now we're going to take your fucking oil. And they seized those tankers and started sucking, supposedly, the oil from those 2 Greek tankers. Greece was like, what's going on? Well, too late, buddy. We just take back, as the president of Iran said, we take back what was taken from us. That's all. Justice. And then the Iranians also pressed charges or went to court in Greece regarding the whole incident. Guess what? And this is where the good news comes about the justice. The Greek courts and whomever decided that the Americans, ordered the Americans, and somehow Americans did that because the because the Iranians had the Greek oil or whatever there was over there. Americans turned around the little vessel that was going towards Zimbabwe, came back, Atlantic Ocean, Gibraltar, Mediterranean, and went to, I don't know, Aegean Sea or whatever the boat, the Iranian tanker was stuck. They went over there, sucked the oil from the American source back into the Iranians, and the Iranians left. Gone. And now, from May, this happened in May, since then, now only the Iranians put back the oil that they sucked out of those 2 tankers that were under Greek, ownership or whomever. But anyway, it was Greek, Greek thing, jurisdiction. And now they say, okay, now you can go back. Beautiful. I like to applaud the justice system of Greece. But Greece was fucked. I am surprised that they had the power, the whatever court, and not only the power, that the Americans did not say, you know what, we can hear you. What? Say what? Where? What? What time? No, we don't know what you're talking about. But they did. Turn around, gave back the oil, and that tanker, I think, went back to wherever the destination went. And the 3.5 Russians were unharmed, just so you know. No Russian was harmed during the whole incident. All right, so I think that was only, I don't like this kind of sanctions, because when you have sanctions, implies that one is the parent, the other one is the child. And only the parent imposes sanctions to the children to change their behavior. That makes you in control, be in control of the child. So I don't like when the United States think that they are in control of everyone else, but no one would dare to be in control of their affairs. Now, I know the world is ruled by force, and they try to make us follow rules so they can control us even better, but that's the way it goes. They fine us if you drive 3 miles above the speed limit. They stop you and they give you a ticket, but these guys are blowing up countries and destroy nations, and nothing happens. On the contrary, they're still hailed as, yes, we brought democracy, freedom and justice and in Iraq. Why? Who are you to go over there? Well, for weapons of mass destruction, we know that was not, you know what I mean? So that was, and then you switch to something else. Who gives you the right to go in another country and change the system? Well, if you have that right, then someone else should have to you. And you say, yeah, but nobody can do it. So that's where this come into play. So if you're might, you're right. Right? Might is right. So I'm glad that they got that, the weasel Greeks got their little tankers back, and they will be blown, not that kind of blown, but blown by Erdogan if they continue to be weasel. But they will, because they will receive F-35 from United States, and Erdogan might receive only F-16s. But it's okay, Erdogan has the Russian connection that will provide them with that old, rusty Russian S-400 and so on. Right? Right. All right. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Good news for justice. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.